There is life after cancer. That's the message as we celebrate those who've conquered the disease. It's Cancer Survivors Day, and I'm joined now by Nisha Chouhan, a young survivor, as well as Monique Naicker, an ambassador for non-profit organization Cupcakes of Hope. Thank you so much to the both of you. Monique, let's start off with you this evening. It's a significant time, the 6th of June, detailing and celebrating the journey of a cancer survivor. Do we give enough spotlight to particularly those people who've had to journey through, living through this disease and conquering it?
You know, Faith, honestly, there's not a lot of awareness being made from a mother's perspective. But Cupcakes of Hope has done so much for this platform. But to answer your question, not a lot of awareness is being raised in general currently in South Africa.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to bring in Nisha now into the conversation. Nisha, you are a cancer survivor. I can imagine that this journey has been quite a significant one for you. We're speaking a little bit with Monique about how much awareness is given to the journey of a cancer survivor. Just tell us a little bit about your journey, what it took for you to get to where you are today, where you get to call yourself a cancer survivor.
Hi, I'm Nisha. It took me a year and a half to get where I actually am in that process. It was a very hard journey for me. Without the support of the Cupcake Angels, my mom, my family, and everybody else, especially the nurses at the hospital, it would have been extremely hard for me.
It certainly is. I mean, Monique, when you're looking at, the journey of the survivor, the support structure needed by the family, what kind of support? And oftentimes when you speak to friends, community members, they say we do not know what to do. We don't know how to support this family. What kind of support is needed for a family who has got a cancer patient who's going through this process of becoming eventually a survivor?
Well, first, from a personal opinion, I've got two medical fragile children. Nikita was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in 2018. She's in remission now, and my little survivor. And her twin sister has had a tracheostomy tube due to laryngomalacia and subglottic stenosis since she was born. So in a way, we felt like we were, in a way, prepared for Nikita, but not really, because when your child is diagnosed, it is something that no parent wants to hear, that your child has cancer. And for me personally, my family, my husband's family, friends, colleagues, they all gave us the emotional support. And even though some families and others not might have medical aid, it doesn't cover every single thing. So it's also a financial need that is basically needed. And sometimes it can be overwhelming, especially for a parent. Because you don't know, are you going to have enough financial means for the day-to-day needs of that child? Because when a child goes through oncology treatment, they tend not to eat, they need certain foods, they need certain things. So, and organizations like cupcakesofhope.org helps families, not only financially, but emotionally as well. So, yeah, you need emotional support from the family, friends, society as a whole. So, yeah.
Nisha, back to you. You're such a brave young lady to be able to document and speak extensively about your journey as a cancer survivor. Other young people, right, other kids that are watching you right now and that are listening to the conversation, and they might be feeling a little bit scared at even the idea of cancer. What would you like young people to know about when it comes to cancer? What message do you have for these young kids that are looking, and I can imagine many of these young kids are looking up to you?
My advice would be to stay strong. Also, you don't have to be strong all the time. There's going to be times where you're going to cry and feel like you want to give up and it's not going to be okay, but it will be. Keep strong. You're not alone. There's so many people behind you. I had the Cupcakes of Hope. I had my mom. I had my whole family. I had teachers from school. I had almost everybody behind me. So when you go through something like this, you always have somebody behind you Whether it's a friend, it's a teacher, it's Cupcakes of Hope, it's everybody. You are never alone in this.
Yeah. And, I mean, you speak about how we're never alone in this, Nisha. What's been your anchor? What has kept you so strong? What has kept you so positive? Who do we thank for that?
I would thank my mom, Cupcakes of Hope, and especially the nurse at Charlotte Makeke, Sister Tish. She has been my biggest anchor. I don't know what I would have done without her.
Man, it certainly is a journey, and we really do celebrate with you on the 6th of June. We celebrate with you even now for having gone through this and for calling yourself a cancer survivor. And Monique, you know, you're speaking about your twin as well as the journey that's been, that you've documented, the journey that you've gone through as a family as well. How then do you start speaking to other mothers? You know, how do you start speaking to other parents, other fathers who are in this situation, who are fearful, who feel as though there is no way out at this point? I mean, we're celebrating, especially on the 6th of June, but many of them, I can imagine, are feeling the pressure. So how do you speak to parents? What do you say to parents during this time?
For me, I always say every parent's and every child's journey or oncology journey is a different journey. And trust your physicians. Trust your physicians. They know what they are doing. You are scared and you might lose hope because as a parent, you feel you're supposed to be able to do everything for your children. When they are sick, you nurse them better. And cancer is something you cannot just nurse better overnight. So have that trust in your physicians. Speak out about it. Speak about your feelings, how you feel as a parent. Let your child, speak to your child and ask them how they are feeling throughout their oncology journey. It's very important, especially for small children, because they do not understand all the time what is currently happening. And when you are honest with your child in a way, for example, with Nikita, she was only 5 years old when she was diagnosed. So I had to explain to her in a way that a 5-year-old would understand what she is going through. Don't hide it from your child, because most people feel you want to protect your child. So you don't want to tell them you have to do this, you have to, but it's the best thing that you can do for your child is to be honest with your child in a way that they can understand, you know? So, yeah.
And Nisha, you know, there are some little boys and there are some little girls right now who have got cancer, who don't know where to turn to, who feel as though they're very scared and it could be a very lonely journey for them. For that little girl that's got cancer today and for that little boy who's struggling with it, how then do you speak to them? What do we say to them during this time?
I would talk to them in a manner they would understand. Kids understand in different ways. The way I met the little girl at the hospital, her way of understanding me was through drawing. I still love her so much. Sadly, she had passed on. Her name was Rita Bile. But our way of bonding with each other was through art or even just talking to each other and telling each other how we felt. I don't see age as much of a problem when it comes to children. Children actually understand more than we think. And having conversations with these little kids, listening to the stuff that they have to say, and we try and understand it from their point of view. And when you listen to them, you understand what they actually feel. And through listening to them, you understand from them how you could advise them when there's certain things.
Yeah. Nisha, I can certainly say that I'm sure you can have my job here. You just speak so eloquently about it. And Monique, before we let you go, how important is it to support organizations such as Cupcakes of Hope, you know, who continuously shed some spotlight on the journey that a cancer survivor goes through and some of the realities that are faced?
It's extremely, extremely important to support organizations like Cupcakes of Hope. It's the sweetest way to save a child's life. Anybody can bake. I'm not a baker, but I always tell my friends and family, you know what, bake, have a fundraiser. Even if you are just 20 friends, 10 friends, now with COVID, even if you are 5, you know, and you go to work, bake some cupcakes and say, you know, you're doing it to help raise awareness for children with cancer. Even if you sell it for 10 Rand or 12 Rand a cupcake, every little bit helps. The smallest amount can help. That small amount that you think is 30 rand, that 30 rand can be used to give airtime to a mother that, you know, is phoning home to check up on her children at home while she's currently in the hospital with her oncology child. It's the smallest gesture that can help, because hosting a awareness fundraiser, it does not stop when your child hits remission. It continues. And Cupcakes of Hope, we help people or children and families after they have hit remission as well, because it's a long journey afterwards as well. Not the current journey of oncology only, but the journey afterwards as well. So, you know, helping and supporting organizations like Cupcakes of Hope is extremely important.
And Nisha, I keep saying before we let you go, it's just that I'm obsessed with you, I think. But what would you like to be? I mean, what are your dreams? Just share a little bit with us about where do you see yourself in the next 10, 15 years, or even 5 years from now?
Hopefully, I'm either a teacher or a pediatrician. I love kids and I would really love to work with them. They have a mind of their own. And the way I see it, I think I could learn more from kids than I could from adults.
I certainly think that we all can learn more from kids than we can from adults. Thank you so much to the both of you for joining us in the conversation today. Cancer survivor Nisha Chouhan, as well as Monique Naicker from Cupcakes of Hope. There we go. There's a little bit of inspiration for you on this Saturday evening.